Hey everybody, Matt with Cykel. Something that happens all the time is you're rolling down the trails and maybe you hit a tree or crashed and you come along and your bars are sideways after your crash. Really super easy fix, not to be intimidated. So all we're gonna do is grab your handy dandy multi-tool out of your pack. If you don't have one of these, get one. They're super small, they can fit in your pocket. But what we're gonna be doing here is we're just gonna work on this headset. Now all you're gonna do on almost every stem, it's gonna be a 4mm on either side of here. You wanna loosen these two screws first. Just a little bit. You don't need to take them out, just crack them loose on both sides. And now we're here, we just straighten her back out. Sometimes it's easier if you grab your front brake when you're doing that. That's gonna keep your front wheel stationary. Straighten her out right to exactly where you want it to be. Now, since it came loose, you might want to check this guy here. So how this headset system works, and this is a really common misconception, this here just sets your tension. This doesn't hold your handlebar in place. So when you're tightening this down, this should only be to snug. So you want to find snug and then maybe go a tiny bit past snug, but that's it. See a lot of guys come in and their handlebar spun sideways and they're just cranking down on this top cap piece. That can damage your fork. For sure could pull that little star nut out of there. So just make sure that's snug, that's all it needs. And then from there, we're gonna just tighten these guys back down. So on these you wanna go to snug on one side, then you go to snug on the other side, and now you're gonna come back around. Ideally you'd have a torque wrench for this, but you wanna come to here and give it just a little bit past snug, a little past snug, a little more. Now these don't need to be crazy tight, so we're just going to a nice firm pressure on there. Most of them will say a Newton meter rating. If you had a torque wrench, it's going to be 4 or 5 Newton meters. If you don't have a torque wrench, just make sure you're not getting it crazy tight. Just nice and snug, firm. And you want to do both sides opposingly, because as you tighten one, it's going to loosen the other. Tighten the other, loosen the other. So make sure they're both a nice even firmness. And that's it, you're off to riding. Now a second part of this is maybe you didn't crash, but maybe you're getting a lot of grit and grind out of your headset, and it's a pretty easy process for addressing that. It's something that, especially if you're riding around Cayuna a lot, you're going to get a lot of red dirt in there. It finds its way in all the cracks and crevices. So exact same process, we're just going to loosen that back up. Loosen that back up. It's something you could do on the ground. It might be helpful to have a second set of hands. And then from there, we're going to take this guy all the way off. Alright, and here's where having a nice workbench next to you or a couple sets of hands comes in handy. This is going to come off, just wiggle it. Now you're going to have a bunch of free spacers, keep track of those. And also when you reinstall this, you're going to want to make sure it goes in the same order you had it. But right under this cover, you're going to see your top bearing, and then this little top part of your race. So this is a cone. Now again, if you're going to take this apart, make sure you put it back in the correct order, because this has to go in the same order. But what you can do is if you have a table, you can start sliding this all apart, and there you can see your bottom bearing there as well. You can just wipe that down with a rag, put a little fresh grease in there, and then put it all back together. Now it's all going to just slide back in together, just like so. And then again, just make sure you keep all your spacers in order. If you've got it on a workbench, lay it out in order. It's going to just slide back on. Top cap down. Screw that back in. Now since we took it all the way apart, here's where it's really important to get it all back together correctly. And you're going to want to add some tension. You're feeling a little bit of pressure right there. It's fully snug. I'm going to give it just a little bit past. I'm going to straighten her all out. Go to my other side. Now I'm going to tighten the sides down again. Again, we're going to go to snug. Go to snug. Come back. Nice firm pressure on that side. Nice firm pressure on that side. I'm just going to double check this one again. Alright, we're good to go. And then now grab your front brake and then kind of wiggle your bike back and forth, and maybe feel right here. If you can feel this moving or hear kind of a clunking sound, this isn't tight enough. And so if that's the case, maybe pick your bike back up, set it down. It's possible that this bearing kind of didn't get quite situated. And then repeat the process, tighten this down a little bit more until we have no clunk in play. And then when you're done, turn side to side. Should be nice and smooth, free, no binding spots. And off you go. That's it. Good luck, guys. Thanks.